Takadosh Boker or Shavua Tov Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Kuftet Zayin Amud Aleph 116a1. We were speaking about the entire concept of that Rabbi comes and he says that I could even say according to the Shita of Rav Huna, because when does Rav Huna come and he say over there that a person will get lashes on an isur klali, right? Ela ki nefesh hu chovel, he says, because the pasuk, the end of the pasuk, which is nefesh ki hu chovel, is extra, yitirahu. You remember basically what happened. We said that if a person comes and you're going to take a collateral, you cannot take the collateral, the life support of the person. What's the life support of the person? In the olden days, he used to come and they used to have the mill. And the mill was something that they used to use to make their parnasah. So if you're going to come and you're going to lend somebody borrows money from you, and then you take away his source of income, how's he ever going to pay you back? He's never going to pay you back. So you're not allowed to do that. But we said there was rechaim barachid, which is basically the top part of the mill and the bottom part of the mill. Two different averot. But then there was another pasuk that said, in the same pasuk, it said, ki nefesh hu chovel, because he's coming and getting rid of the nefesh. So therefore, the rabbis come and they say that when it says ki nefesh hu chovel, so that means that a person will come, and that's a love shebeklalut, which means like a general love. Okay? So he comes and he says as follows. So he says, right? So he says like this. He says, when we're talking about here, right? Given the etirahu, shad yarechaim v'rachav, aval hacha, but over here, kim tzli over here, when it says kim tzli it's not extra. For that which we learned in the Braita, b'shah she'yeshno ki b'kum echol tzli, yeshno b'lo tochal na, b'shah she'eno b'kum echol tzli b'al tochal na, which means it is. When we wanted to say that also by Korban Pesach, you're not allowed to eat it not cooked and not roasted a little bit. It has to be 100% roasted. So when a person comes and he doesn't eat it 100% roasted, maybe he also is over on 3 avirot. Because let's say if he's going to eat it cooked, so he's over on eating it cooked. If he eats it roasted a little bit, he's over on. But not only that, he's also over on that you must eat it when it's 100% roasted, which is a lav, a negative commandment, which is a general, right, lav. So here he says no, because there it's only telling you when it is. Meaning, if it's cooked, it's not roasted. And if it's roasted a little bit, it's not roasted a lot. But the other case of nefesh hu chovel is about something completely different. So therefore, it's two completely different cases. Okay? So Tanya Kavatid of Yehuda. So we have a bright in accordance to Rav Yehuda where it says, Chaval zug shel saparim. If somebody's going to take a mashkon, which is basically a scissors of saparim, of barbers. So what's their parnasah? The barber scissors. And you took it away from them. Each one of the chalakim is a knife in its own. How are the scissors in the olden days, even until today? They're two knives like this, right? And then they cut. Yeah, but it's two knives, two separate blades. But they're mechubar. The tzemen shel parot, or the oil which connects the two different cows together. Again, to the chayav shtaim, you should be chayav two. Why? Each one on its own, right? But you're only going to be chayav once. So, because you only took one utensil, meaning the scissors is two blades put together. But technically, it's two blades, but it's only one utensil. So why? You're going to be chayav two or one? What are you going to be chayav? We learned in another braita, chaval zug shel saparim yachol shelo yeh chayav elachat. אמרנו לומר, לא יכול rechaim v'rachav, מה rechaim מיוחדים שני כלים יוצאים מלאכה אחת, even though it's two different utensils, and they do one melacha, and you're going to be chayav on each one separately. So to anything which is going to be two different utensils, you're going to do one melacha, you're going to be chayav on each one separately. So basically it comes out that there's like a stira when you have it's basically one utensil made up of two separate utensils. Are you chayav two or one? That's the question of the Gemara. Okay? So because of that, it comes out that it's actually a machloket. So because of that, it makes sense that basically everything that we mentioned until now is going to come out of machloket, whether you're going to be chayav two or you're going to be chayav on one. Next, somebody went and he took a zamashkon, a sakin, meaning a butcher's knife, right? Imagine you're a butcher. He took us. They came in front of Rabbi. Elmaleh, he said, "Zila adrek, go give it back to him." It's a utensil that they do ochel nefesh. And then you come to Betin on that. Meaning, you can't just come. You have to give him back his source of income, and then afterwards you're able to do whatever you want. Okay. So he comes and he says as follows. Yeah. Rav Amar. Rava comes and he says, Lo tzarich lemekam bedina aleh. You do not have to come and start taking him on bedin or anything. Why? He comes and he says, right, as follows: Ad kedei demehen, until the money. So it says over here like this, which means that you don't have to come and put him, right, and bring him to the bedin on the case. You could just ask for the money, for the value. Rabbi doesn't hold this. What's the difference in the case if there was goats that they came and they ate seorim, right? They ate barley, which was already peeled, right? And what happened in Narda? And he grabbed the goats, the Katayin Tuba, and he was asking for a lot. Amar the father of Shmuel says, you can only ask for the value, meaning you cannot charge more than what the value is. So answers the Gemara Hatam over there. Love needed the avda leushle. You can't do anything with the goats. So therefore, that's why you could grab the goats and just keep them until the guy pays you. But here, you could come and you could do it. Anything which you could say, you know what, I bought it, you're not going to be believed. Why? Imagine right now I come and you rent out your pen. And all of a sudden I come and I take your pen. So I bought it. I'm not believed. Why? Because you could have lent it to me. So something which is normally lent, you cannot afterwards come and say, I bought wine, because maybe you lent it, and then now I'm just coming and making a story that you sold it to me. Yeah, and Rava does not hold of this svara, but Rava, he went and he took out the misparaim, right? This is scissors of that they come and they comb the clothing, right? So he says, Vesifra dagata, or Sever Agadat Chachamim, Yatmin from Yitomim. And that was something which was also made for lending and renting and all these things. So Rava was going to answer you, what is this? Came on the mi pagma, right? Since it's going to become nifgam, kapti inshiv, nobody will come and they will lend it out. Meaning these are things which you don't lend out certain things. Why? Because you don't want them to get ruined. So because of that, you're never going to lend it out. Okay? Adran Allah hamkabel. Huftet Zainam Ubet, 116b. Says the Mishnah. Okay, there's a 10th chapter, Perek HaSiri, the Mishnah. Habayit v'aliyah shel shnayim shenaflu. What happens if you have a house and the second floor that it fell? Now, what happens is we don't know who belongs to the house, right? That's what he says over here, right? Which ones are the fireworks of the house of the balabait, and which one is of the aliyah? Meaning, it's like like in New York where you have the duplexes. So you have the bottom floor, the top. So each one belong to different people. I don't think you could do that. No, I think it could only belong to one person. Right? They can rent it out, but I think like by law, no, unless they separate. Exactly. So here we're talking about though that exactly. So but here though, let's say you were able to have it to it exactly. One goes up and one goes inside. So what happens if right now you would be able to separate it to have two different owners? So the aliyah, the top one is one owner, and the bottom one. And what happened is they both fell. Now I don't know what belongs to which owner. I don't know which belongs to the middle owner or which belongs to the top owner. So it says the Habai v'aliyah shel shnayim shenaflu shneim cholkim. They divide it. They divide the wood, the stones, the afar. Veruin elu avanim asiyu lo yishtaben. We're going to come and see which ones could break. If you know which ones, you take them. It's going to be a cheshbon. Meaning you come and you take the ones that you recognize are for sure yours, and then you come and you start making a cheshbon on everything else that's left behind. Says the Gemara, Midiktani, for the fact that we said ro'im, that we're going to look, you can actually find out what's going on. If it fell through breaking, or if it fell because it was just too heavy, and then you could find out. Yeah, if so why do we say then in the Reisha cholkin? Why do we say that you divide it? See how it was. Did it break or did it just fall out? See. So he says, if it actually came and it fell, it means it come from the top, right? And therefore, right, he says, because the ones that came on the top, when it falls, it breaks, because it came from heights. But if it was right here and it fell, so it doesn't break, it just falls over. But it doesn't always break. So he says, and if it fell through chavsa, so okay, so then that's it. It just fell, but it's still shalem. So answers the Gemara. What are we dealing with? Then afil belel, I fell during the night. So since it fell during the night, right, we don't know how did it fall. Right? We don't know. So it says they're going to find. We'll look in the morning. So he says the paninu, they move them. And once they move them, we don't know anymore. So it says the Gemara, so get the guy that get him and find out. So answers the Gemara, the paninu Rabim was no, they put in the Rishut Rabim and then that's it. And the guy left. So it says the Gemara, okay, fine. Fine, where is it right now? And then take the other guy and tell him. Answers the Gemara. It's in the chatzer of both of them. Inami should have been or in the Rishut Rabim. Right? By Tamer, you could answer another answer. If they're shutafim, they're never makpid. So since they're never makpid, you can't bring a proof for one or the other. Where are the stones right now? It doesn't matter. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. If one of them knew which were the bricks which belonged to him. So it says, what is it going to be toen? If it's that he said yes, pshita obviously. If he didn't say no, right? If he didn't say yes, lama, why is he going to take it? Meaning, if I come and I say this is my brick, and you say it's not, obviously I can't take it. So obviously it means that you said that you're not sure. And if I'm sure and you're not sure, I could take it. That's the rule. So says the Gemara Tiyufta the Rahman. This is a Tiyufta against Rav Nachman that he said, Manali b'yachvel and Yodea Ravuna Rav Yehuda Amrei Chayav. Rav Nachman Yochanan says you're going to be patur. So now why? Why are you going to be patur? Here you're saying that you're allowed to take the brick. So answers the Gemara, Rav Nachman, no, they already have a shavua. So to here you have a shavua between them, and therefore if you say Enu Yodea, so therefore you're able to make a shavua. So says the Gemara. What is the case of Esek Shvua? So he says like Rava. The Amar Rava, but Rava says, the rest I don't know. For the fact that you cannot swear, that's what you have to pay. So that's the same thing over here. Me, I come in and say, you owe me 100. If I come in and say, I only owe you 50, so you have to swear, and then you only pay me 50. What happens if you say, I only owe you 50, but I don't know about the rest? You can't swear. Because the swearing was only that I only owe you 50, not more. Now you're not sure about the extra. So you have to pay the 50, but now you can't swear. So since you can't swear, you have to pay the entire thing. Because you can't swear, you can't get out of it. Okay? Then we said, it's going to be ole from the cheshbon. According to the cheshbon of the ones which are broken. So he comes out, Alma Kevan de Amar, since he says in Yodea, it's re'at fei, it's not going to be good. Meaning it's even worse than not saying anything. So Abai says, Adra, the opposite. Hareat fe, it is going to be bad. The what? That it's grew up more than the other stones. Midehani yada, the fact that he knows, feilo yada, he doesn't know. So too late, everything belongs to the other guy. Meaning if you already recognize some, whatever you recognize is yours. Everything else should belong to the other guy. But rather Abai says, that if shlemot, according to the cheshbon of the shlemot, yachiv, so, what does it help? So he says, lemal ben aravcha. He says, in order to be Melben the Rachav. So he says, Irami, or if you want, you could answer. Tina de Me'avda. He says it's for like the teeth, right? Which is going to be Ma'bed. Fine. Next Mishnah. Mishnah on the bottom of Kutet Zane Amud Bet. 116b, the last Mishnah over there. Habayit v'aliyah. You have the top floor and the middle floor. In Yivchata aliyah, v'em balabay rotzeh letaken. What happens if the aliyah starts coming down? And the balabay doesn't want to fix it. So then the Bal Aliyah could live on the bottom floor, right? Until the guy could fix his aliyah. Meaning, right, he comes and he's renting it out, right? So this is the case of what you guys were mentioning before, the duplex in New York, where they both belong to the same person. Now, I'm renting out the top one. Now, the top floor starts sinking in. So now I hardly have anything. So what happens? I could come to the bottom and start living in the bottom. Why? Until you don't fix the bottom for me, I'm living in the bottom. Yeah, Rabbi Yosef argues and he says, no. Hatachton noten et hatikra, v'alyon noten et hamaziva. The balabait does not have to fix the entire thing. He says, but rather the balabait has to give the roof, and the top guy, he has to give the teeth, which is going on top of the korot, which is like on the gutters. I don't know how you call it exactly. Here it says here, tikrat habayit is ritzpat aliyah. Basically like the floor in between the two. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Nifchata bekama. How much did it go down? So Rav comes and he says, Beruba, the majority of the house started coming down. Shmuel says, even be'arba'ah, even if it's going to be in 4, right, tfachim, 4 by 4 tfachim. Rav Amar Beruba, Rav comes and he says, Beruba, right, aval be'arba'ah, but if it's going to be 4 tfachim, no. Adam dar chatzio lemata v'chatzio lemala, because a person could come and live half above and half below, right? There's no problem. Shmuel says, no, be'arba'ah, and Adam dar chatzio, a person will never come and live in such a fashion. Which means that a person will not come and start doing so. He wants a full house. He wants a full floor. And he's not going to start living like that. So says the Gemara, what's the case? Hechidami. Idamar aliyah zo. If he's going to say this aliyah, so azda, so now that's it. He lost this aliyah. But he told him aliyah stam. So lo gelei acharite. So let him rent out another one. So Amar Rava says, what are we dealing with? Tamar le aliyah zo shani maskilecha kisal kasalik ba'ada echinachat chut ba'ada. He says when it's going to be ole, it's going to go up with him, and when it goes down with him. Which means that as long as you still have it, right? So he comes and he says, right, you could still go up with it, and if it's going to go down, it's going to go down with it. So says the Gemara, if so, what are you talking about then? And Amar Rashi Elmaleh that he could say aliyah zu shal gabe bayit zeh shani maskilecha that shibet bayil aliyah. When he comes and he says, I'm going to rent you the second floor of this house, he's subjecting the house to the aliyah. Meaning the house has a lien to the aliyah. And now that the aliyah is not fitting anymore, so therefore the house is subjected to it. Right? So when you're talking about now the dalit, which is the geffen, it's like the vineyard, which is on top of the peach tree, right, that I'm selling to you. He's going to be chayav, you have to put him another one. As long as you still have it. So therefore he comes and he says, so you see from here, right, that since he's saying on top of this house, there's a subjugation on the house as well.